Hi again, welcome to another video, and in this video it's part 2 of the Honda roller mower gearbox. The new part has now arrived, so I can get that fitted back in the gearbox and then get the gearbox and the rollers all back together, ready to go back in to the mower. But before that, if this is the first time you've been to my channel, please like and subscribe. It'll help my channel grow, and if you could do that, it'd be much appreciated. And yeah, now I might as well get on and get this new part in the gearbox so we can get this mower sorted. So we'll get on with that now. So yeah, here it is, and yeah, like I said, the new part has come. That is the new one. You can see how straight them ends are. Look at the old one. See, it's got like a little mark out there. Same when they're all warm. So I'll compare them both next to each other. See there. So it was worn, so that's a good sign. Yeah, there is a thrush washer there, and then pull that cog up and push this through a little bit. So we'll just get that around the side there at the moment. I'll just take that cog off at the moment. So I'll lean it the way it come out. So there's a washer on there. I'm going to leave that on there at the moment. So yeah, basically I'm just going to let that oil drain out of there, because there is a little bit in there still, as you can see. So I'm just going to let it drain into a little tub or onto some tissue or something, and then clean that in there, because you can see it is a little bit mucky in there. Actually, I'll take that chain off as well. Don't think they're directional or anything, but I'll just leave the way it did come off. And yeah, I'll give that all a good clean up, because yeah, it is a little bit gunky in there. And then we'll get on and get that new dog clutch in and then get it back together. So I'll be back with you when I've cleaned it. The seal, I didn't have a new one. I thought I did. I didn't have a new one, so I'll put the old one in there. You can just see that seal in there. So what I'm going to do, I've got the new piece there, but I'm going to put some grease in there first. I've got it over here. And I'm going to put some in first and then put the new dog clutch in afterwards. So let's get some of this in there. I want some of it in there before I put the actual dog clutch in and that. I've got a bit in there now. So let's get that out of the way at the moment. Just want to feed it all in there. I'll read what it says on the grease in a minute as well, which gives me confidence of using this grease. Actually, what it says, it is sort of like they describe it as a soft grease, and you can see it is a bit runny. A bit more in there. Like I said, I have used it before with no problems whatsoever. I would quite happily do this on my own mower if I was keeping it. So I'm going to read what that says on it, actually. You can see that as well. I'm not going to read it all, but that is the grease, and that top part is what gives me confidence. Soft tacky grease containing additives which give it excellent adhesion to metals. So basically means it sticks to the metals. So I'm confident it's going to stick to that cog and give it a few years, maybe a lot of years use. So now I'm going to drop this dog clutch in, put it in like so, and as I put it in, hook it in there. So it's all good. Now I'm going to get this clip on. Just get it in the tool. Yep, that's in there. So all it has to move, just there. Don't have to move much. and that's okay. Off camera I'll put a bit more grease around in there, and then I'll get the top cog on then, and then we can start to get it back together. It doesn't take very long, so I'll just get a bit more grease in there. So now we'll get the cog back on like so. That should fit into there, which it has. Push that back through. I haven't replaced the seals, like I said. I haven't replaced that middle gasket like I mentioned, so I just feel safer doing it this way on this one. So that's what I've decided to do. By all means, you know, it's the same process. If you're going to do this, put the oil back in. If you really want to go that way, you know, the process of doing it is no different. So basically I'm just going to put a little bit more grease around sort of that part, and then I'm going to get the cover back on. We'll screw it together, and then that should be all good to go then. Apart from I've got to fix that bottom sort of cover bit, just to give it a little bit of weld on that, like I mentioned in the first video. Then we can get the rollers all back on, get it back on the machine, and give it a test run. We'll turn that round. I think that'll be okay. Happy with that. We're going to turn it because that washer's there. I'll just but you can see it's all moving as it should do. There's just a thrust washer there. I don't want to get loads of grease on top of that when I put the other piece on, which I'm actually going to do now. So all that is covered in there. I've done all that. This part is clean as well, so just check that seal is in, which it is. So that should press down. Yep, that's in place. So I've just got to put the little bolts back in now. So let's just get these tightened up. Done that. Then I'm sure that goes that way around. Yeah, it does. I'm pretty sure it does. I'll get it tightened in a second, and I will put the bottom ones in at the moment, but I've got to still fix that little guard thing like I said, so we'll do that, and then we can get it. Just take these back out again. It's just going to hold it nice and secure at the moment. And that is it back together. So we'll just get a circlip back on. Easy enough. Is that in place? Yep, that's in place. So now the gearbox is all back together, we'll do a little bench test. It won't be the same as it would be on the mower, but I can just see if it functions right. So what I'll do, I'll stand it up like that. And what happens, that shaft there goes onto the shaft that comes off the back of the engine. When the engine's running, that shaft moves all the time. So this spins all the time when the engine's running. But on that lever, there's a spring. The cable goes to there, but it goes through the middle of a spring. So the spring holds it down like that. So what I'll do, I'll hold it down like that. And then that's spinning. And you can see them bottom bits there aren't moving. That's spinning away. Then I'll put the lever, which will pull up there, and then we have drive. So that's spinning along, and that's driving it along. Then you let the lever off on top of the handlebars, and then that lever will go down the back there, where my hand is, there. And then it's not turning. Pull the lever on again. We see they're turning, so that's functioning right. So that's spinning along, and that would be driving along. Then the handle off, and then it's not spinning now. So yeah, that I'll show you before, but yeah, you just have a spring between there. Might be hard to show you when I put it back on, but yeah, that's what it does. So yeah, it's like in sort of neutral now, and then pull that lever up, and it's in drive. Pretty simple little system really, and it can be repaired. They are a serviceable item, so that is a good thing about these. So yeah, that's that back together. So that's ready to put back on to the rollers now, and get all that part together to basically get the drive all back together. The part I used for this, a dog clutch, that was the number, but there are some that are different. I'm not sure of the part numbers of the other one. This is the one with the multi splines, which actually tends to be on the older models. The newer ones seem to have a different spline sort of system. The one I used, that was a part number. So yeah, it is just a matter of getting the rollers back onto this now, and then getting it back on the machine, and everything should be good. Oh, and I've also got to fix that little guard bit at the bottom, where I said I was going to do a little weld job on it. So yeah, everything after that should be all good. I'll just grease it up as I put it all back together, clean anything that needs cleaning, and yeah, should be good to go. Well, now the gearbox is done, I've cleaned up this shaft, the main shaft that holds everything together, the rollers and the gearbox, and I've cleaned up the rollers good enough. So I'm just going to get some grease and put some grease on. But before I do that, on the end here, just there, has to have one of them washers on, like that. So I might as well put that on now to get that on there. Sometimes I have found, when you put it all back together, there should be one of them washers each end. But sometimes I find the actual rollers will move a little bit, and there will be a little bit of movement. I just pack that out with some washers. I've done it loads of times, it seems to be okay, and it stops the rollers. Could be a bit of wear or something somewhere, but yeah, I found that's always works. Just packing out. Might not need to do it on this, we'll see when we get to that stage. So my next step is yeah, just putting a bit of grease on that shaft and getting the big roller on. And then I've got to go in there and put a circlip on, because when that's on, a circlip has to go on there. And then there's a washer, and then there's another washer there, and there's a circlip, and then the smaller part of the roller goes on there, the gearbox sort of in the middle there. So yeah, I'm just going to get the grease, and I'm just going to use normal multi-purpose grease on this, and then yeah, we'll get this back together and we can get the whole drive system back together. That little guard on the bottom of the gearbox has been welded now, so that can go back on. I haven't put that on yet, but I'll put that back on. So this is the grease I'm using. I bought it for my scooter and I can't find my other one, but this will do. It's multi-purpose grease and it's racing grease, so yeah, for a racing mower. I don't think so, but I might as well use some of this. So I'll just put a bit along the shaft just to help matters. Don't want too much on there, because really a lot of that won't do much good anyway, because there's nothing to be running on there, but it'll just protect it. I'm not going beyond where that circlip goes over at the moment, so we just put a little bit on there. That'll be okay. Then we'll put that long roller on. I'm hoping I can keep you in shot here. I've driven a bit of WD-40 because I did put a bit on in them bearings at the end. Could replace all the bits, like I said, but on this I'm doing it on a budget. I don't want to spend much on it. Now one of the trickier bits, not massively hard but trickier, is getting the circlip in place down there. What I'm going to do, actually, I'll just block it up, so I'll try and show you me doing it, but my hand might be in the way, but I'll try my best. You are going to struggle to see the whole process of this because it's sort of in there about an inch or so inside there, so you're not going to see it, but this circlip has to go in, well, the other one of them grooves what I showed you. So, and the thing is, when you're taking these apart, remember there's a circlip in there, so if you're trying to pull that off, remember there's a circlip in there, so you won't be able to pull it off. It will make it really hard and you'll end up breaking the circlip. So we can get that down there. Thing is, I can't even see that myself where it is. So you can see it in there, just, I think. I'll show you it. But I'm gonna, let me just get a torch for you. See that circlip in there? I'm going to have to do that off camera to make sure that's in its groove, but that's easy enough to do. Once you've got it in there, just make sure you get it in the groove it should be in. The groove is just like that one there. So I'll do that off camera and then I'll be back with you. So I checked the circlip and it actually was in place. I just got a screwdriver just to turn it around in the groove just to make sure it was in place. Now we're going to put one of them washers on. Strange thing is, I was looking on an online diagram once and it showed these washers at the other side of the circlip. Well, the diagram must have been wrong. I don't know whether they've corrected it since then, but that really got me scratching my head because I thought, no way can that washer go the other side of the circlip. It's supposed to go between, the one each end between the gearbox and them circlips. So yeah, they made an error on there, and it was confusing me a bit because I thought, no, and you rely on these diagrams and that. So yeah, I'm not sure if they have corrected it since, but I think I spoke to someone else and they found the same problem. But yeah, sometimes you just got to use common sense and work it out for yourself, because there is errors on things. That washer is in place now. So what I'm going to do, can't do any more on that at the moment because I've got to go and get the little guard bit for the bottom of the gearbox. We'll get that on there, then everything should be straightforward then, because that circlip's a lot easier to put on because the roller won't be in the way, because that goes on afterwards. So the hardest part is sort of done really. So I'll just get that guard back on. You haven't really got to see that because you saw me taking it off. It's only the nuts and bolts through to hold it on. And we'll be sliding the gearbox on next. Then will be the washer, the circlip, the small bit of roller, and then at the moment I will just put the nut on the end, because I have to put a bracket thing on. This bracket here has to go on, but that's when you put it on the mower. I can't do that before, otherwise then that bit there and that bit there doesn't go past the mower, so this has to go on afterwards to clamp everything and hold everything in place. So we'll use that bit when we're getting back on the mower, but I'll just get this guard on and then we'll get this roller back together. So now I've greased up the shaft there, I've greased up the roller bearings in there and in there. It goes on that way, so I've just greased up around there at the moment. I'll do that one in a minute. Make sure your circlip is on there, that one each side, there's one there. So yep, and also the guard is done. I haven't bothered painting it up because the rollers are going to look a bit rusty, so this can just rust and just blend in really, so didn't see no point in painting it. It's very thick there now with the weld, so that saved 15 odd pounds, that did. That's before postage and VAT, I think. So you probably took around £20 for one of them, so I saved that. I didn't actually weld it, my dad did. It was easier for him to do it than me get my welder out, because the welder's packed away. So I'm going to get this on here now. It goes that way, so the shaft goes out there, because I can tell that, because that I know what side that connecting bit to the mower goes on. So we should be all good to put this on now. I'm going to sort of just turn it a little bit as we go, so I want it to grease them roller bearings nicely. And it's into where it should go. So that's that done. So my next step now is to just grease around there. I've got some around the end, so I might as well use that. Just if it has to come off, it'll just make it so much easier in the future. So just get plenty around there. Just put a bit around the end there where the bearing goes. It will push it all along, but it doesn't matter. We'll have some on there. So now I can take that glove off, and then we can get this one on there. But I have still got to do the circlip, so I shouldn't probably put that grease on, but oh well. So that can go all the way down. I'm just gonna, I should have done that before, but it's gonna be okay. I think I can see where the circlip goes. Got to get that along there. Like I said, I did make a bit of a mistake putting that grease on. I got a bit ahead of myself. I have to go on a bit further actually. I think that's in place. Let me, yep, I can see it. See if I zoom you in. Yeah, that's what I always do, just check it. It's in the groove. And I can see that's going around in the groove, so I know that's in place. So that's done. So the next step is just getting the smaller roller back on. That one again, I did just put some WD-40 to soak into them bearings. They'll be okay. And then just double check he did everything right. I put that washer in and the circlip on, yeah. So now we'll just put that on there and that should lock in. And then at the moment, let's just drop down there a little bit. At the moment, I'll just clean up this little washer, because this little washer does have to go on now. But that bracket bit, like I said, can't go on yet because I've got to put it back on the mower. And I probably will do that tomorrow now. And then we've got the nut somewhere here. At the moment, I'll just put the nut on there, like so. So we can give it just a little test now if I hold everything sort of in place. So now we can give it a little bench test. So it's the way the engine turns it. And we have it moving. Knock that down. Then it's in neutral. So hopefully that's all good. Hopefully it hasn't got any judder on it, and that's job done. With this part, I've still got to obviously get it back on the mower, which will actually be, let me just drop that down there, which will actually be in part 3. The part 3 will be putting it back on the mower and trying it out. And then that'll be the final part, and hopefully all is good and we'll be done this. So thanks for watching, and as I always say, I'll be along with another video again soon. This one will be up soon, but there may be others between. We will see. So yeah, thanks again. Bye for now.